What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. Yes, I am starting to upload on weekends now because starting today, we're going to go through a weekly 7-video series that's going to talk through the top 10 players, at least in my opinion, in various positions. Today, we're starting with quarterbacks. We're going to do running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, skipping the offensive line. Sorry, offensive linemen. Just no real stats for you, and you know me, I love stats. Defensive line, linebacker, and defensive backs. So, hey, if you guys enjoy this video or even agree with me, leave a like on this video, hit the subscribe button down below as well. Ring the bell, leave a comment down below. You can tell me if you feel like I snubbed someone. Might even explain to you why I did it. And before we get into the top 10 quarterbacks, at least in my opinion, for 2021, we're going to look at some honorable mentions that just missed the list. Going to run through these guys really fast before we talk more in depth about my top 10. Grayson McCall, of course. By the way, these honorable mentions are in no particular order. Grayson McCall of Coastal Carolina is a phenomenal player. He is one of the reasons why Coastal Carolina is a very, very good football team. Just barely missed out on my top 10. Would have loved to put him there, but there are 10 other guys that I like better. Dillon Gabriel, also the same kind of player, and especially with Mackenzie Milton gone, well, was really always the true number one ever since Mackenzie Milton got hurt, but now can really get the media attention spotlight. And while UCF doesn't have to worry about Mackenzie Milton's injury anymore, that's to deal with Florida State. He is a phenomenal quarterback. Absolutely phenomenal. Love the way Dillon Gabriel plays. He just missed out on my top 10 as well. Matt Corral was a late addition to this honorable mention list. I kicked out Jayden Daniels of Georgia, although he would be number 7 if I could fit 7. He is a household name, or at least is going to be in 2021. He has incredible arm strength, and I think can really have an amazing season in 2021 for the Ole Miss Rebels. Carson Strong for Nevada is a really good quarterback as well. Get to know his name, because Carson Strong is a name that you might see a lot come the NFL if he can emerge there. He has NFL talent, and he has NFL talent surrounding him. Romeo Dubes at wide receiver, and Cole Turner at tight end. So some fantastic players surrounding him. He's going to be really good. We all know how good Bryce Young is going to be. I mean, Nick Saban, just the best coach to ever do it, at least in my opinion. But I've also lived through the Nick Saban era at a young age. So I've been watching him for almost my entire remembrance. But, well, of course, he was coaching before I was alive. But Bryce Young going to be a phenomenal quarterback. Can't wait to watch him in 2021. And Phil Jurkovec, a very underrated quarterback. He can really throw it. He has great NFL arm talent. Look for him to have a good season in 2021. Now let's get into the top 10. And at number 10, it's going to be the new face for the Clemson Tigers, DJ Uengalele. Yes, this is how you say that name. You can rewind if you want to learn how to pronounce it. Here you go. Stat line for last year. It was his first year at Clemson. Started 2 games and almost threw for 900 yards in those games, in those 2 games alone, along with 495 alone at Notre Dame. 78 of 117, 914 yards with 5 touchdowns, no interceptions in the limited time he got last year. Of course, like I just said, started 2 games, 28 carries for 60 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, for every quarterback, and heck, for any player that I'm going to be talking about this offseason, I'm giving you 2 pros and then 1 question about him. He plays a similar style as Trevor Lawrence, meaning he likes to sit back in the pocket. He likes to throw the football, but will run it if he has to. He's a top caliber athlete with some amazing arm strength and incredible athleticism. But is there too much hype surrounding him? We've been talking about how Uengalele has this it factor. He's the guy. He might even be better than, well, maybe a little bit of a stretch to say he's better than Trevor Lawrence. But is there too much hype surrounding him? That's what we're going to find out in 2021. And in my opinion, no. I think this guy's going to be really good, has the it factor, and has the weapons as well, with Justin Ross being cleared to play. He's going to be phenomenal in 2021. He's at number 10. At number 9, I have Malik Willis of Liberty. This guy is really good, and I mean really good. He's going to be an NFL-ready talent, probably going to go in the first round as well. 170 for 265, 2,260 passing yards with 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And on the ground, was almost 1,000-yard rusher as a quarterback, 141 carries, 944 yards with 14 touchdowns. Not just a guy that can run the football as well. Of course, we know he can throw the football. Quarterback, for goodness sake. He has excellent arm strength and can get it to you wherever you want. Long, short, over the middle, doesn't matter. Malik Willis will get it to you. 99-yard pass, sure, go ahead. Malik Willis has that kind of arm strength, one of the best arms in all of college football. He has incredible speed and toughness. When he does get out of the pocket and decides to run the football, he is incredibly fast and incredibly tough to take down. Not to mention tough to take down in the open field, but also really hard to take down behind the line of scrimmage as well. Will fight off hits until it's absolutely certain that he will go down. So a very, very talented quarterback in Malik Willis. The one thing I need to see from him, and the reason I don't have him higher than 9, is I need to see his decision-making and accuracy improve. Those 6 interceptions, a lot of them were just inexcusable, and some of them were even just downright bad. So if I can see his decision-making and accuracy improve, I'm going to have Malik Willis higher on my list at the end of the season. But an NFL draft pick, absolutely. Definitely could go in the first round if those 2 things can improve. Right now, though, he's going to be at number 9. Number 8 is Jayden Daniels, and because Arizona State only played 4 games last year, we're going to look at his overall career stats. So 254 for 422, not the best completion percentage, but hey, cut him some slack because 3,644 yards, and this is about a full season and a little bit. I think maybe like 15, 16 games for Jayden Daniels. 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 158 carries, 578 yards with 7 touchdowns on the ground as well. He has dangerous speed, and that's why you see his rushing numbers at least as high as they are. College is a game about the dual threat quarterback, and Jayden Daniels might be one of the best. And I think, speaking of Jayden Daniels, just the name itself, I think has been forgotten. Of course, last year with the Pac-12 shortening the season and Arizona State had COVID issues, just, in my opinion, a forgotten name. But I think he's going to be really good. He's got to find a new number 1. He's a good decision maker. So if he finds that new number 1, going to be a really, really good player this year. But of course, with Brandon Ayuk gone, with Frank Darby gone, he's got to find that new guy that he trusts. Don't be surprised if you see Jayden Daniels in New York competing as a Heisman Trophy finalist. He is phenomenal, an incredible young talent. Of course, freshman year really impressed me. Sophomore year, I expected him to do big things. I have him on my top 10 quarterback list. Again, he's at number 8. Number 7 for me is Michael Penix, 124 for 220. For 220, 1,645 yards, 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 18 carries, 25 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Now, I've been talking to some people, and they've said, well, Michael Penix kind of got lucky. Was really just throwing the balls up there, and Freifogel or Hendershot or whoever was in the area ended up coming down with it. More often than not happened to be Ty Freifogel. And well, that's just because Michael Penix has amazing playmaking abilities. Try saying that 5 times fast. I'm not going to try right now. I got a video to record. But of course, amazing playmaking, just phenomenal. He is great. And that's one of the main reasons why the lucky throws seem to be like that, because he can put it in a position to where the wide receiver can come down with the ball and keep it away from the defender at the exact same time. Now, those 4 interceptions might be, of course, because of those scenarios, but really is still a phenomenal player and has those explosive weapons. Hey, Whop Phillier is gone. In my opinion, you don't really need him with a guy like Ty Freifogel. You have Miles Marshall, along with other weapons as well, and Peyton Hendershot still at tight end, the big body that can catch anything over the middle and will really improve that passing yard stat. My question is, speaking of improvement, can he improve? Can he be that full-time starter? And I think a bigger question than that is he healthy coming off the ACL injury? He seems to be healthy. He looks good. He's getting the green light, it seems like. I want to see some improvement from Michael Penix, and I want to see those lucky throws. I put quotes because really it's good playmaking. Some of it's luck, but, well, luck. I want to see those lucky throws become routine, not necessarily like an every other play kind of thing, but something that he can make look easy. And if he can do that, Indiana's going to be really good this year. Penix for me is at number 7. Number 6 for me is Brock Purdy. 243 for 365, 2,750 yards, along with 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and then on the ground, 87 carries, 382 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, we're going to come back to those 9 interceptions, but first I got to talk about his arm strength. Those 2,750 yards, if you remember, in 2019, threw for over 3,500 yards. Brock Purdy is just that good of a quarterback that he can do that. I mean, just phenomenal, and has the best group of tight ends in the country with Chase Allen and Charlie Kohler, along with a much improved group of wide receivers. So in my opinion, he is due for a bounce back season, but can he rebound after a disappointing 2020? I just said, in my mind, yes, he's due for a bounce back season, but those 9 interceptions are going to make you wonder about his decision making a little bit. I think if Brock Purdy can get back to what he was doing in 2019, along with improving that decision making along the way, you're going to have absolutely nothing to worry about if you're an Iowa State Cyclone fan. But I do need to see that decision making improve a little bit. If Brock Purdy is going to be higher, he is at number 6. Number 5 for me is De'Aaron King. And with the raw talent that he has, we know how good De'Aaron King is. Look at 2018 in Houston. More on that in a little bit. Last year, 211 for 329, 2,686 passing yards, along with 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So not quite like what he was doing in Houston, but still a very good stat line nonetheless, along with 138 carries, 538 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the ground. He's very explosive, and we know that, dating all the way back to his times as a Houston Cougar. He is a very explosive playmaker with excellent playmaking abilities, can run in the open field, can throw it down the field. He is the epitome of a dual threat quarterback. Most of his weapons are returning. I believe the only one gone is Brevin Jordan at tight end, and even has other weapons coming in through the transfer portal. Look at Charleston Rambo, a wide receiver from Oklahoma. And De'Aaron King is a phenomenal player. Of course, went down with an injury last year. Can he produce a 2018-like season again, and is he healthy? And if so, Miami could be looking on their way to an ACC championship game and possibly a college football playoff berth. Of course, they have Alabama on the schedule, first game of the year. Will he be healthy and ready to go? And if he is, Miami might just have a shot of winning that game, the slim shot that a lot of people think it has. I think the game can be particularly close. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. Albeit this De'Aaron King player, if he's healthy, he's really good. Going to be exciting to watch in 2021. He's at number 5. This is my hot take of the quarterback video. Number 4 is a guy that you might have heard of. His name is Desmond Ritter. Now, I don't know if this is the Ohio bias in me or something like that. Whatever, this is an opinion-based video for the most part. Anyway, 186 for 281, 2,296 passing yards with 19 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, 98 carries, 592 yards, and 12 touchdowns on the ground. A good dual threat quarterback. Might I add, great, maybe even elite dual threat quarterback. This guy is phenomenal. Compared to his 2019 season, his decision-making has improved tenfold. A really good decision maker now, can put the football anywhere you need him to, and is smart with it as well. And you have to think that the motivation factor is going to be the biggest it's ever been for any player ever for Desmond Ritter. Just looking at his motivation, look at the emotion that was on his face after the American Athletic Championship. He loves this team. He loves this community. He loves his coach. He loves his fellow players, and he loves the fans. He wants nothing more in the world but to bring the best home for Cincinnati. And they have a shot to get into the playoff this year. I mean, they really do. And they have the games to prove it as well. Failure is the best motivator. That's what they always say. And when you look at the game against Georgia, they were so close and definitely could have won the game. Can 2021 be his best season? I think it's going to be. Don't be surprised if Desmond Ritter is the surprise Heisman candidate that you see in New York at the end of the season. I know I've said that about 2 or 3 of these quarterbacks, but I think it really rings true with Desmond Ritter. This guy's going to be fantastic in 2021 if he remains healthy, which he has been throughout his career. For me, he's at number 4. Now, for the top 3 guys, you know who it is. It's Slovis, Rattler, and Howell. What order do they have them in? Well, that's up to you. For me, Keaton Skovis is the clear number 3 out of those 3 guys. Still a really good quarterback, and we look at what he did last year. Now, I put his stats on here because he kind of went crazy last year while only playing 6 games, and I didn't do it with Jayden Daniels because Arizona State only played 4. So 177 for 264, 1,921 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Those 7 interceptions don't look great, especially after only playing 6 games, but almost 2,000 passing yards in 6 games. That's incredible. He has so much NFL talent. It's just coursing through his veins. It's in his hair. It's everywhere for Keaton Skovis. He will run the ball if necessary. I don't have his rushing stats on the screen because it's not super prominent or super impressive, but definitely can run the football if necessary. But is it going to be the same story with USC? We know USC is their own worst enemy. I have them going 10-2 this year because I see that defense improving and being the storyline of the season that can carry them. But that being said, it could lose them a couple games, and it might lead to them getting more negative publicity than Skovis will get good publicity. Of course, he's going to be a top pick in the NFL draft. There's no question about it. But will the success, or should I say failure, of his teammates let him down? His stat line's going to look fantastic, and that's why I have him at number 3. It's just a question of whether this USC team is going to be a lot better like we all expect it to be. Skovis is an incredible player. He, of course, like I just said, at number 3. Now, the top 2 guys I have on this list, you can swap around, but I do think it's very close. Number 2, I have Spencer Rattler, which means you know who's at number 1. We'll talk about him in a little bit. We're talking about Spencer, 214 for 317, 3,031 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions through the air last year, and on the ground, 81 carries for 160 yards and 6 touchdowns. He had an excellent 2020, albeit his first 2 or 3 games were not his best, and was making poor decisions, poor throws, and then over the last 3 quarters of the season, he really picked it up and really started to play well for this Oklahoma team. He's another Heisman quarterback gem for Lincoln Riley. He's a front runner to be in New York and might even win it next year for the Oklahoma Sooners, to give Lincoln Riley another quarterback or another Heisman winning quarterback. Can he live up to all the pressure, and can he avoid a slow start like he did last year? That's going to be the big question for me for Spencer Rattler, but I think this guy's a fantastic young talent. He is absolutely insane. Crazy good quarterback. Why do you think I have him at number 2? It's very close for me, but the guy at number 1 just barely beats him out. And that guy is Sam Howell. Look, Sam Howell is a fantastic quarterback, and he still went crazy last year in the shortened season. 237 for 348, 3,586 passing yards with 30 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. I say only because, of course, threw a lot. 92 carries, 146 yards, and 5 touchdowns on the ground as well. He's had an excellent first 2 years. Really impressed me as a freshman. I didn't really expect a whole lot of the same as a sophomore, but man, was I wrong. Sam Howell is fantastic. North Carolina is also destined for greatness. After losing some big names, they're bringing in some guys through the transfer portal and still have great talent. North Carolina is going to be a really good team this year. Will Howell be the guy to make a splash this year? I have him as my number 1 quarterback coming into next year. To me, he is the Heisman favorite, and I think he's going to walk away with it. He is a phenomenal quarterback. What more do you have to say about Sam Howell? I mean, this kid is just absolutely phenomenal. I say kid, I'm 18, whatever, go with it. But Sam Howell, incredible talent. I expect a similar stat line, maybe even better one in 2021. North Carolina's going to do great things. You know, I have them in the ACC championship game at 11-1. North Carolina's going to be insane. So is Sam Howell. And that's going to do it for my top 10 quarterback list. I'm going to leave Sam Howell up on the screen, as I'm going to leave every number 1 on the screen. Remember to like, subscribe, comment on this video as well. Tell me your top 10 quarterback list. Tell me if you think I forgot a guy even in my honorable mentions, or a guy that you feel like should have been higher or lower. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the SEC preseason power rankings. Goodbye.